definitely going to make you guys proud.
exceL have got a long road ahead of them, but maybe they can put a win on the board tonight. Hello, everybody. I'm Quickshot, joined by the superior analyst, Foxdrop. Welcome back to Berlin. Welcome back to the LEC. Do you know the definition of humility?
Well, it's a little bit foggy on the details, but it's all right. I wrote it on a piece of card, and therefore there it is. It's out there now.
It is very good to have you back, Foxdrop, and we're getting ready for Misfits to take on exceL Esports, of course. exceL rising up from the UK scene. One of the squads, especially in the spring split, we were talking about quite a lot, quite excited. What do you make of the roster swap? What do you make of Mickey coming in now in week 2?
I think exceL were kind of lacking a little bit of punch in the way that they played. You know, we saw some really good performances out of them in the spring split, specifically at that top and jungle. And now I think when you bring in Mickey, I think the whole goal of doing this is to try and add a little extra fire to their squad, someone else who can bring it down, not just expeC, not just Caedral.
All right, he's not the only substitution today, of course, on the side of Misfits Gaming. Laure is sitting backstage while Kirei is taking to the stage. Kirei, of course, playing for my favorite team at MSI play-ins, 1907 Fenerbahce. Yes, he did play for them, of course, when 4-2 lost the tiebreaker, wasn't able to advance. I want to see what champion he plays because he had a number of very unique picks. FLICKR likes playing within the meta, a pretty wide variety.
Yeah, and he's really good at those early game aggressive style of champions. Like the Elise he plays a lot of, the Taliyah we've seen as well. Even when Taliyah fell out of meta, Kirei still loved playing that champion. And we saw Laure play Elise as well last week, so it's definitely a style that Misfits want to play towards, and it totally fits Kirei's champion pool.
And of course, Elise, by the way, is the undefeated champion in week 1, went 4-0 across all the games. There are 4 champions that had 100% presence in picks and bans, and they've all been banned. Aatrox, Irelia, Sylas, and Yuumi, with the insta-lock Sona on the side of Misfits.
Sona has risen in popularity as like being the first component of the Sona Taric that you lock down, because you can actually play her without the Taric nowadays as well. It's kind of like a mage in the bot lane. She's really strong, and so if exceL don't pick the Taric here, you open that up, but even if you do, it's still not too bad by itself.
Well, what do you prefer? Because last week Patrick played the Sona, Mithy played the Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
And that was a monstrous lane. They demolished Vitality. Do you prefer one to the other?
I actually think it really depends on the team and the players. I still think that Sona Taric, I always say that and it's never right. Sona Taric, I actually think it is still a really strong composition once you get out of that lane phase. But the great benefit of picking that Tahm Kench is that Sona can actually be a pretty big lane bully. She's got decent range, decent harass, and the Tahm Kench keeps her safe as well. So we're going to be seeing that locked in for this game. No real surprise, it was already really strong, as you mentioned last week.
Yeah, worked out for Origin. Really did a lot of work, and with a couple seconds left, another flex pick was the Nico, ends up being pivoted away. Still technically a flex in that Jayce, but we have seen a little bit more frequently towards the top lane, so I want to see whose hands it lands in. No Febiven can pilot that well as it is.
I want to talk a little bit about Tahm Kench top as well. I don't think we've seen that in professional players.
Did you say Tahm Kench top?
I did say Tahm Kench top. I know, I feel disgusting just saying it, but I played enough solo queue to know that this guy right now is absolutely vile in that top lane. I'm not sure whether it will translate into the professional scene. I don't know whether teams have been discriminated or not, but it is a potential flex up there in that top lane.
Compositionally speaking, what would need to happen for that catfish to make it to the top lane?
I think that Tahm Kench, if you go into a melee matchup, is really hard to play against, because he can stick those stacks on top of you and then run you down. The Q has such a low cooldown that you can just land those perma stuns. You've got great gank setup, which would match perfectly into Kirei if he wants to go for those early junglers. Having said that though, exceL are now banning away the Elise. They might go something else as well here. I want to see Taliyah, but we'll see.
Interesting. We find out where Kirei decides to play. As I mentioned, did play at MSI in the play-in stage. He ran the Kindred, the Taliyah, the Elise are champions, I recall. A lot of junglers being removed from the pool as we're in phase 2. Elise, Gragas, Sejuani taken away from play. And we've got the duo lanes locked in already. Now, last week, Febiven did run the Jayce. He died in lane pretty frequently. It was tough. I remember the TP to get insta-killed again, but his mid-game and his later-game team fights were definitely very helpful, and Misfits obviously picked up that win, in part thanks to those mid to late-game fights.
Yeah, Febiven has shown that he can kind of bounce back from poor early games. I think there have been a few criticisms of Febiven as perhaps a weakling of the Misfits roster, although impossible to really pinpoint exactly where that goes down, but something that can be said to his credit, he is a very experienced player. He knows how to get back into games. We're seeing the Lee Sin locked in here for Caedral, similarly to last week. That was something that he played. Wasn't quite able to pick up the victory on it, but did look pretty strong on that champ.
And now we need to see where the rest of this composition goes. Obviously, we're anticipating the Sona to go bot lane. But if there's going to be some sort of crazy flexes, we'll find out now. Kindred locked in for Kirei. There's a lot of damage AD right now. How do you round out this team composition? This will be Jayce top, Azir mid if it's secured.
It is indeed. Kindred being locked in here, I think so. I'm, as a solo queue player, we'll take this from a solo queue standpoint here. I know that one of the worst matchups for Kindred is that Lee Sin because he can duel you early game. He's stronger than you at that point. And the synergy into Kindred, the specific counter, is you can kick her out of her ulti to finish her off with your Q. So it actually becomes really hard at any point to 1v1 fight a Lee Sin. Now, obviously, in professional play, things are a little bit different, but it does add a little bit of an extra kind of asterisk to how Kirei wants to play this game going up against Caedral's Lee Sin.
And of course, the counter now is going to be the Rumble locked in. We anticipate Rumble into Jayce, most likely Ryze in the mid lane for Mickey. Mickey, of course, most recently playing in Challenges Korea against some of the best Ryze players on the planet. I want to see what he's going to bring to the table because the two substitutes have got two very high impact champions in the game today, Foxdrop.
Yeah, and I want to see as well how the engage from exceL can play out here. When you have that Rumble ulti to start a team fight, it's actually really easy for Rakan to follow up onto that with the quickness and to lock people down and then just bundle in with this exceL team comp. Whereas with Misfits, if you have that Jayce in the side lane, Azir as well, you kind of just like scale out and it's almost like you're just saying to exceL, if you guys want to run at us, that's fine, but we're not going to let that happen. We're going to sit back, we're going to chill out a little bit.
And good luck running into Azir, into Crescendo from Sona, as well as some of the poke or even the Lamb's Respite is actually very good reactively, assuming that Dragon's Edge
presses
kick.
E,
there you
and
go.
Suddenly they zoom away.
They absolutely do. So we're about to jump into the first game here of week 2. And one of the things that I have coming into the week is now expectation setting starts to become a little bit more clear. We start to not overreact to every individual game because we can start seeing trends.
Right. Is there any kind of expects plan you're going to make there? It is an exceL game.
Not yet, but, you know, I expect someone to get burned down with some flame spitters.
Oh,
we can have some fun with that one in-game, Foxdrop.
Fun is a subjective term for that, I would say.
The man on your screen right now, Kirei, of course, coming in from Misfits Premier, the LFL team from Misfits playing in the French League. Of course, he's coming in from 1907 Fenerbahce, and he's in this matchup that, Foxdrop, you've already talked about. Kindred into Lee Sin. What should we be keeping our eyes on in terms of this? Like, would you prefer to see Caedral trying to challenge, trying to invade, trying to pick those fights? And if so, you know, what are some of the answers, or where can they do it?
It's really tough for a Kindred to just run in 1v1 against Lee Sin. Already mentioned, you don't outduel him early. The pressure attack helps a little bit, but with this electrocute from Caedral, not the Conqueror, that's all about that burst. Really good versus squishies and much better in that early game and in this specific matchup. For me, Kirei wants to look towards sOAZ and how he can use this Jayce pick into the Rumble, where early game, Jayce can harass that Rumble pretty well, and Rumble doesn't have really any reliable escape from a gank. So if Kirei can get that going, perhaps if he can like set the mark going on expect and get that early 3-4 stack, where you then become a lot stronger with that increased attack range, Kirei will have a much easier time against the Lee Sin matchup. All
right, well, let's track then the first decision making. kaSing is already going to sweep away that first ward in the river, start stepping forward, and instantly Misfits are backing away. They're going to have another ward that will just get spotted and killed. towards the tail end.
Boy.
This is a 3v3. I mean, do you want to pick this fight? Misfits say yes. They're going to step forward and challenge.
All about the smite.
Another ward comes down. Smite fight is on. I'm watching Kirei and Caedral. Caedral's going very low. Resonating strike comes in. Red buff was picked up by Kirei. That's the substitute for Misfits. Flash forward. Red buff applied. Dance of Arrows is available for Kirei in just a moment. Caedral goes down to Misfits sub Kirei.
Not only does Caedral die here, but he had a mark on him. Kirei now gets the first stack of the game, and that is so disastrous for Caedral right here. He's going to lose that invade. He's now going to lose his blue buff as well. And in a matchup where Kirei just wanted to kind of be careful, now suddenly he's in the driver's seat.
Oh man, the passive mark as well as First Blood into this matchup that you've already talked about. It feels really good when we talk about the substitute players, we discuss the champions, and literally the first few decisions come down. He won the smite fight, and he got the follow-up kill. And I noticed that Kirei made his next mark, Hjarnan Xayah. I was secretly hoping he was going to go down to the bottom lane, but he wants to give his bot laners just a little bit of extra time. And this is obviously from the perspective of Kirei.
And it all comes down to the smite right here. This is what's going to make or break this play for exceL or for Misfits. Kirei gets that smite, and in this situation, if you have that, you now have the advantage because you've got someone who's level 2, you've got the red buff to run someone down. It's just everything that could have possibly gone right for Misfits happened, and everything that could have possibly gone wrong for exceL. Oh man, it's, you hate to see it.
Wow, there you go, 800 gold advantage already. For anybody that doesn't know Kirei, he actually won TCL Winter from the Turkish League with 1907 Fenerbahce, went to MSI, made it all the way to the tiebreaker with Fongbu Buffalo. And as I'm talking about that, expeC is going to force the flash from sOAZ. Does he go for the dive? Scrap Shield not going to chase just yet. Didn't have the cooldowns. And in the 1v1 at level 3, expeC wins that out.
Yeah, Rumble has a lot of damage actually, and expects Rumble as well. It seems like he gets a damage buff whenever he's playing that champion. He's played it a lot, and honestly, he carries pretty hard on it, and he's able to get sOAZ's flash. And now this gives a window for Caedral here, who's had a terrible start to get back into it. Maybe go for a gank, but Kirei's going to spawn him out. No flash.
Oh my word! Lamb and Wolf are chasing down. The bite, the dance, the arrows sent Caedral to the fountain.
Oh man, it's just painful, Trevor. I just don't like watching this. It's just horrible.
Well, as a solo queue expert here, Foxdrop,
oh god,
put yourself in Caedral's shoes. Hold that thought. Mickey's going to get chomped on and takes a lot of damage as Wolf goes all the way forward. I mean, what does Caedral do in a matchup that he was favored before conceding all these buffs and kills?
Well, you asked me to put myself in his shoes. First thing I would do is change my shoes because my socks are very soggy from all the tears that have been streaming down my face and leaking onto them. The thing with Lee Sin, or I guess any champion, if you fall behind, you've got to look to yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to be able to force these plays and be that direct impact. The way that I influence this game now is through assisting and supporting and enabling my team. And Lee Sin is actually not too bad at doing that. It's one of the reasons why he's pretty much always meta in professional play, because you can still protect your carries, you can peel for them, you can playmake and stuff like that, and Caedral does not need items to make that happen. He does, however, need to be careful that Kirei doesn't just perma-invade him and put him so far behind that he becomes absolutely useless.
Well, that previous invade, looking at the minimap, you can actually see a number of wards. I actually missed the Krugs ward personally. A small mistake on my part is Caedral fully spotted out. Kirei was hunting him.
Yeah, and it's, at this point, it's just like there's not too much you can do. You know, he's low on health. He doesn't have his flash still. He's been punished for that again. There are actually 2 wards in exceL's jungle there. One of the red buff and one of the Krugs. Like, Misfits know. They know that they have the lead here, and they know that they want to be able to push that. And Kirei, so far, showing no nerves on his first LEC debut game.
No, absolutely not. And of course, you know, this is the first game on this stage, but it's definitely not the biggest stage that he has played on. Has a lot of experience. Now, we've obviously focused on Kirei and the junglers because that's where a lot of the game has happened. Down in the bottom lane, Hansama and Gorilla have a cumulative 3,200 gold. Hjarnan and kaSing are sitting on 2,900. So these dual support items and early game farm advantage is currently favoring Misfits, but they're still scaling out this Sona plus X support. Always need some levels to really get powerful. And now Mickey's going to get jumped on. Realm Warp may just get him out to safety, and it does. And that was just an exchange of ultimates.
And no summoners blown there, but Mickey now he's a little bit low and doesn't have his CB.
Oh, a lot of damage being traded back and forth at level 4. Small advantage here for Hjarnan and kaSing, but it's very important to keep in mind, we have to track gold because the CS doesn't quite matter in those 2v2s.
Right, it's kind of confusing because to begin with, Tahm Kench or the melee support will take all the CS with the Targons, and then when it starts going up a little bit later into the game, Sona will start taking that CS. So it is a little bit deceptive when you look at those kind of farm totals there. But still, all in all, as you mentioned, the gold, a little bit of an advantage here to the Xayah Rakan, as is to be expected of the Lovers duo. Yeah,
definitely the case. And of course, we just got a glimpse there of sOAZ, and expect they're even on CS. Febiven and Mickey thus far trading evenly. And Caedral is now going to try to play some League of Legends. Puts a Sonic Wave onto the chicken camp. And we'll spot out Kirei. There's no movement from his laners yet. As I say that, Mickey started stepping towards the river, but there was backup. You can see kaSing waiting in the wings. And exceL, this is going to sound weird this early, but they've stabilized, you know. Kirei was running amok in the jungle, but now his next mark is on the Grump camp, if you look at the minimap. And he's currently targeted Caedral, so we'll keep track on Kieran as he can continue to build up those passive stacks, because Kindred becomes a monster if she's able to continuously farm there.
Right, and we mentioned how she had the perfect start by getting that one stack. That is the only stack she has this game, so she definitely has slowed down. Misfits going in for this invade here, but exceL don't want to give it away for free.
No, they don't. Blue buff is secured by Misfits. Mickey's got no realm war.
There's a TP though from
Flash
Rumble.
is available to him. Expect's got the equalizer. sOAZ TP is on cooldown. Insta equalizer, but Expect is in trouble. He's forced to flash defensively in a 5-on-4 and a TP committed. exceL get nothing.
So, you know, a bit of miscommunication there from exceL. That was a really good TP flank from Expect. A great place to lay down that red carpet too. But exceL just weren't in position. But if you look at the levels from exceL, all of the key kind of triggers for these teams, the people who can pull that trigger to go for the engage, you know, the Lee Sin kick, the Rakan ultimate, they're level 4 and level 5 respectively at that time. You can't follow up on that one, and they're just they aren't able to get anything out of it. That is flash and TP from Expect.
Yeah, didn't have the abilities to stick, and I noticed Gorilla's exhaust as well. Very, very impactful in reducing that damage. I think Grump was secured by exceL, so Kirei's waiting for his next mark, and he's going to invade, sitting inside the Brambleback. While that is going on, I think a very smart play from exceL here. They are going to secure the first dragon of the game. It's an Infernal at 9 minutes, and it'll be at the cost of their red buff up top.
Yeah, Kirei is very tunneled in on putting Caedral behind. Caedral's recognized this, he knows he's got a target on his back, and why not use this time to go for that dragon? I think they'll be happy with that one. Fire dragon for the fire buff.
Oh, very good flash there from HuntSummer, but it is blown, which means juicy targets for a repeat engage on the side of kaSing.
Kirei was looking for a cheeky dive in this top side as well, but it was sniffed out from Expect. And Kirei is still sitting on that first mark, as I mentioned before, and he really wants to hit that number 4. That's the sweet spot. When you get that, you get increased attack range, which makes it a lot easier for you to play team fights when you're transitioning into this mid game. It's really important if you can pick that one up. Looks like he is. There we go. Going to pick up his second stack of the game. Still 2 more to go before he reaches the magic number.
All right, let's see how quickly he can get them. Currently 60 CS to 42, still 2 kills secured. And exceL, they are falling a lot further behind in gold. 2 and a bit thousand, nearly 3,000 gold in favor of Misfits at 10 minutes. And the advantage they have is that Infernal Drake, and they still have to be very careful. I mean, Kirei, he got really steamrolled ahead, but hasn't been able to find any other opportunities. I don't think this is a problem inherently, because it is a lot more risky to keep finding those opportunities. For now, they're just starting off the Herald, but kaSing is waiting in the wings.
And exceL are at that point where they kind of want to accept that they're not going to have the agency, they're not going to be able to really contest too much, and if they do, that's a very easy way to throw the game, because you start losing people, not just objectives. But at the same time, you've got to find that balance, and exceL at some point, as this game develops, they're going to have to start asking themselves, okay, so at what point do we want to contest these objectives? Normally that happens around the 20-minute mark with the Baron Nashor when that starts spawning, but at this point, exceL are happy to give up the Rift Herald.
I mean, it's super scary, because if you wait another 9 minutes against a team that already has such fantastic scaling in the Kindred, the Azir, we know the team fight power that Sona is going to bring, it may be too big of a challenge to overcome.
It's going to be really difficult, and we saw in this feature before the game came in, Caedral he said, I don't want to be 9th place, I'm not happy. And he actually said to me when I saw him earlier today, I will hold this thought because he's coming in for his first gank of the game.
Well, let's see what Caedral can do. He's going to be helped out by Expect, whose equalizer's just become available. Once the overheat goes down, sOAZ will get taken out. The teleport is completed from Mickey, probably not worth
I don't think that was fully necessary, but perhaps that was an anticipatory TP, just in case someone was trying to match that and collapse as well. But he is going to lose a few turret plates here. But still, this is it. exeL's first kill of the game. Does get donated over to Caedral as well.
Oh, that's a good flash from Mickey. I was waiting for the Emperor's Divide to come out. Mickey with the fast feet. Rift Herald was summoned. Foxdrop with the boop. Takes down the tower. First blood gold bonus secured, as well as the Azir passive put down. The pressure isn't alleviated just yet, waiting for one more Rift Herald push. But of course, all that pressure mid means expect get some time in the bottom lane.
And it looks like they might look for a top lane thing here. I think that Gorilla and Hans Summer were thinking about teleporting behind Hjarnan there to catch him, but decided against it as the rest of exeL was moving up there. Now, Caedral is also on the top side of this map. He's run straight across the Krugs. He's not looking to do those because he knows this is an opportunity here for this play. See if they can make it happen. kaSing obviously flash and ulti.
All right, Gorilla's got flash available to him. Hans Summer, no flash. Momentary stutter as the quickness is used. Gorilla's exhaust was timed. Now the Devour gets thrown down. And that's a very, very easy, controlled escape. I was ramping up expecting a huge fight, and just nothing happened.
That is a difficulty whenever you're trying to do something against Tahm Kench. Like, you can't do something to the person you're standing next to, because he just gets gobbled up.
Oh, Mickey's just getting eaten alive. Caught in a mousetrap, and Misfits 3 kills to 1.
No Tahm Kench to gobble him up. Just 3 very, very evil-looking Misfits people.
Oh, man, it's so frustrating. The jungle of exeL has not belonged to them, because Kirei, after his first kill, has been invading, has had a lot of support, and the man that's feeling the pressure the most is Caedral. You know, this is the guy that came in, unfortunately conceded first blood, and he's one of the leaders of the exeL squad. And last week, you know, Caedral stepped up to the plate and did the best that he could to get exeL 2 very competitive games, but this one seems like it's running away from them.
And Kirei here knows that expects just the game sense to know that that is where someone's going to be at that time. Like, no vision, nothing like that, just knowing this is going to be the movement of the enemy team. It's one of the reasons why Kirei is such a dominant solo queue player. He went over to Korea and he did really well over there. When I talk to other challenger junglers, one of the people they tell me to kind of look towards, they're constantly referencing, is Kirei, because the amount of communication he does, he always knows when everything is happening, and he's very good at telling his team the exact same thing. That was an opportunity there to catch our expect. Expect sniffed it out, but still, it is the sign of a good jungler, and more importantly, the sign of a confident jungler, exactly what Misfits want out of their rookie.
What do you think of his itemization? Sitting on those free-ass boots, got himself Warrior Enchant and Phantom Dancer before 15 minutes.
I think that it's a pretty hefty item build to have. Oh, Blaze, he's flashed in.
Wow, that's really bold. Realm Warp will get interrupted. That's the sliding glide. Febiven sets it up for Kirei to get his 4th and 5th. That's a double kill for Kindred. It may not be over as Gorilla's on the hunt, but he can't find another target.
I was talking about confidence. How's that for a confident play? Flashing in, engaging as Kindred. That was not a phrase I thought I'd say in my life, but he did it.
It isn't over yet. Safeguard to safety. Kirei says not today. Sending in the mounting dread. Caedral's being burned alive, but he isn't going to get killed yet. Teleport completed by Expect. Equalizer's up and available, but so is Lamb's Respite. There's the Devour. Never say die. Misfits just get out, and they get another teleport.
There's a lot of tools on the side of Misfits there to defy death. It seems as though exeL, when they want to make a play, when they're looking to make it happen, the door just closes, and Misfits are playing this game really, really well. And a lot of that, I mean, I can say it's coming off the back of Kirei. I mean, look at that scoreboard.
I think that is true superior analyst analysis.
You know what, mate? There's more kills on Misfits sides than exeL sides. That might be why they're winning.
Do you know, what have we done without you? You know?
I don't know.
5-0 Kirei, by the way. During the ready check segment, there was that question. If X improves, then team will perform, and Hans Summer was the man. He's playing Sona right now, and Kirei is just leading Misfits to an obliteration of exeL.
Well, this is it, right? Kirei comes in and replaces Maxor. Maxor was picked up. He really grinded for his reputation as a top jungler in the LEC or ELCS as it was back then, playing through teams like Giants. And he was a really, really strong jungler. He was a very proactive jungler. And when they had that World run in 2017, he was a big reason why. But it seems like right now, what this team needs is someone like Kirei who's been able to play aggressively.
He's in the pit.
He's gonna get it.
He steals it.
Yeah.
He steals it over the wall. exceL can't do a thing. Kirei and the rest of the squad are moving forward. Conquering and sliding sands. Crescendo tags one. Caedral's already gone. The sand soldiers sent flying as Hjarnan goes up, spits the feathers backwards. Will not be able to root up anybody else. 6 kills to 1. Febi, the only person not named Kirei to have a kill for Misfits.
This is the problem we saw in this feature. exceL, Caedral says. He didn't like being 9th. He didn't want it. The mental toll it has on a team to know that you suck is honestly, it's incredible. And they have a chance to reset. You come into that summer split, and exceL being very vocal about the fact that they are not happy with being a 9th place team. And I was talking to Caedral backstage as well, and he said, book it, 2-0 week. If it's not 2-0, then you, well, I
there's
won't.
problems. Then there's problems. I got you.
I won't do the precise phrase what you said, but still, this is not how you start your 2-0 week.
Well, for Misfits, this probably is.
Right, that's a good one.
You know, for Misfits, of course, coming into this matchup, especially after the spring performance, I had questions around what would they look like for the split? How could they evolve? How serious was the 10-man roster? And I now have more questions, actually, but it is exciting to see such a strong start here from Kirei. The Lamb's Respite is used defensively. exceL throw everything at Misfits. It literally doesn't scratch them. The tower is still being sieged, and it's a 9,000 gold deficit. Crescendo's going to be up in a moment or two. The Emperor's Divide is up, and Misfits just continue the siege. This is just fantastic pressure play through an advantageous position.
And the thing is now that there is absolutely zero pressure on Misfits to make a mistake in this situation, because the only way that is going to happen is if exceL can capitalize with their engage. And there's no flash on Caedral, so he can't do it. There's no ulti on exPex, so he can't do it. There's no ulti on kaSing, so he can't do it either. So Misfits really just have to completely lay the land here, just go around the entire map and take everything that they want to do and wait for that Baron to spawn in about a minute.
And I think it's also important to note that when you have teams that theoretically are meant to be top of the table, playing teams that are theoretically meant to be bottom of the table, this is kind of how you expect the games to look. And if you just look at names and players on paper, this was the Misfits that was expected to show up in spring, and it did for a little while, albeit it was mostly through Hansama's play and not through the type of carry jungle performance we're seeing now. But it does give a lot of hope to Misfits fans and supporters. And on the side of exceL, they're going to have some troubles. 2-level advantage here for Mickey, but he's going to escape with Realm Up. The burn is ticking. The burn gets it. The burn gets it. I believe that was stack number 4 on Kirei.
That is spicy. You are correct. Stack number 4 here, so he has that increased attack range. Just when he thought he wasn't scary enough. Now he's reached that, and oh my lord, he's sitting on a 600 gold bounty. I mean, if you want to get back into the game, you've got to take him down, but
multiple times, my friend.
Easier said than done. Way easier said than done.
I mean, if you take a look at just the item disparity, right? sOAZ 0, 1, and 2 on KDA. He's got Black Cleave and Hex Drinker coming up against a Haunting Guise and a Seeker's Arm Guard. That's it. 2 full items for Febi. Banshees and Nash's Tooth into just an Archangel Staff. Hasn't even procced yet to Seraphs. For Mickey, 10,000 gold, 5 towers to 0, 7 kills to 1. Misfits showing up to start off week 2.
Yeah, at this point, Misfits, what they want to do, it all revolves around this Baron play. You want to make sure this bot lane especially is getting a favorable push, so that it puts a little bit of pressure on exceL to kind of catch these waves before you then look for the Baron play. Misfits are sitting on a decent amount of gold though, both from sOAZ and Kirei. 1.5 and almost 2k gold respectively, so if they just decide to go for that reset, I think that would then make their Baron play a lot stronger. But when you're this far ahead, does it even really matter? I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. You can see sOAZ, he's flirting between bottom and middle lane. There's a control ward placed. Oh, that's the engage onto 1. The kick back. That's the shutdown goal onto Kirei. Caedral does it. The opportune moment. 2 quick kills to exceL.
What did I say? If you want to get back into this game, Lee Sin, the playmaking potential Kirei, he's been the hero of this entire story for Misfits, and he just throws it all away with one move.
All right, Febiven, Summer, and sOAZ in a 3v5. That's the engagement to Febi. He's forced to flash defensively, goes backwards, sends out the Sand Soldiers. That makes it a 3v4. Summer with the power chord. Sends Expect to the fountain. The gigantic gold lead means even in a 3v5, Misfits can do it. Empress Divide's on cooldown, remember, but now it's sOAZ Hjarnan's ulti. That's the hammer form. Put it down on Hjarnan. He's dashed backwards. Realm Warp defensively. A double shock. And one more power chord. 3v5, Misfits exceL.
exceL, they had a sniff of victory right there. They were about to poise to take for that dragon, but Misfits, like you say, 3v5. They turn it around there, and Kirei now he's back. He's going to be able to secure this one. No harm, no foul.
Itemization advantage makes up such a difference. All 5 members of Misfits are alive. They secure themselves the Baron, and they've got all the tools they need to finish the game.
Yeah, and Kirei sits a little bit too far forward here. Very easy to get complacent when you have such a lead. But this kick that followed up with Caedral, the 3-man kick, not only does it send Kirei to his death, but because it CCs his teammates, they then can't help him out either. And in this situation here, deciding to turn away from Baron and go for the fight is the correct call from exceL. But the problem is that they've already used a lot of their resources to find those first 2 picks. So when you're already at a deficit and you don't have your ultis up, it's really hard to win these fights. kaSing here, he's caught in a runaway mode, but maybe if you turned on sOAZ, they actually could have turned and burned him. But either way, 2 for 1 there, getting the real bang for your buck. Misfits taking out the Baron on the other side of that as well. 10k gold lead.
I really, really wish both Xayah and Rakan had gone down with a shock blast, because it could have been 2 birds with 1 blast. But wasn't the duo. Wasn't the duo. We'll have to look for it another time, you know.
Well, good luck. You're going to be still on that for a while, mate.
One can dream. One can dream.
Your hair will be naturally grey at that point.
Oh no, it's coming sooner. It's coming sooner than you might think, Foxdrop.
You and me both, buddy.
Not all of us have those luscious locks. But look, 23 minutes and it's 14k up. Baron plus themselves another Drake plus all of the item advantages. Misfits are starting to chip away both middle and bottom. And exceL, it's so frustrating because from literally minute 1, Kirei's Kindred was running away with the game. sOAZ gets jumped on, he uses the hammer blast, gets kicked backwards, stays alive a few seconds, Gorilla comes in with a devour, that keeps sOAZ alive. The never say die sOAZ manages to get away from the feathers as well. The root comes out, Lab just bite needs to go down, and it does. Now kaSing running for his life. exceL are trying their darndest, but it simply isn't enough.
exceL had the right idea. They're attacking this 1-4 by picking on the person by himself, which is sOAZ, but they're just too far behind. Misfits are a bit too far ahead, and once you pull that trigger, they have nothing left. Even though this is still a 5v5, exceL can't do anything about their whole base being destroyed. Misfits are pushing for the win.
They absolutely are. Crescendo's available for Summer. If exceL overstay their limits, they will get stunned and then killed. Nexus turret number 1 falls. Nexus turret number 2 falls. exceL, what do you have left? They're not looking for the fight yet. Emperor's Divide, that catches out Caedral. Killing spree for Summer. Some looking for the kill, some looking for the Nexus. Mickey goes down 0-5-2 for his LEC debut. And Misfits take down exceL.
7 kills for Kirei there. Very arguably the catalyst for Misfits' success. Really all started at that level 1.
So very arguably?
Yeah.
I would go definitively, my friend. Definitively. But I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Misfits approach to the game. They were waiting for the invade. Yep. They had warded it. They anticipated it. And after that knowledge and awareness, they then punished. So all credit to the entire team. They had the right people there and they made the right call.
Yeah, and I think from exceL's perspective as well, you know, they're now sitting 0-3. Things are not looking good for this roster this year. The thing is, though, that this game really was kind of lost at level 1. Yeah. And the thing is that exceL did a few good moves still, and so there is something to take away, like a positive to take away from it. But I mean, you can see the smiles there. What else can you do? You can't exactly cry on stage. But it was a tough level 1 there for Caedral and for exceL, and a really hard game to kind of overcome after that point.
Absolutely the case. And of course, Kirei new to the stage. Take the walk. High five the fans, my friend. Deserved victory. Febiven give me a little bit of a laugh there as I'm helping your brother out. But I think, again, I can't get away from the fact that the wards that were killed, the position, the setup the Misfits were in.
Right.
This is one of those games that it hurts real bad if you're exceL. But simply put, you're outplayed. They out-prepared, outclassed, and it happens sometimes where the opponents were just better in most stages of the game.
So now there are a lot of questions we have to ask. 3 main questions, I think, out of the result of this game. Firstly, Mickey didn't look too hot in his debut, but how much was that him and how much was that the level 1? On the other side, Kirei looked really good, but I mean, he was turbo set up for success. And the last question, of course, is which picture of a gorilla is Smoothie going to tweet out on Twitter?
It's definitely going to be a smiling one. There's no doubt about that in my mind. We've got some highlights here from Kirei's first game in the Misfits jersey. This is, of course, from ProView, his perspective. And I have one more question to add to the list, Foxdrop. How much more faith do Misfits fans have against Origin tomorrow? Because before this game, that was an Origin win, almost no-brainer.
Right.
After seeing this level of performance, I have to think about it a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean, Origin is still a very, very tough cookie, but you're right. Misfit looked kind of collected in this game. They look very much like a unit, which is what you really want to see out of your team. So if you are a Misfits fan, definitely have some faith coming out there. Kirei was a lot in the right place at the right time this game, and it really showed in his scoreline.
It does. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Kirei couldn't even see Mickey as the burn took him down. Very confident performance, but yes, I mean, game 3 tomorrow, Origin versus Misfits. Origin looked great in week 1. Misfits surprised week 1. And I think the level of dominance in this game, again, it just, you really want to think that these superstars are going to play like this all the time, but I thought that in spring it was let down.
Yeah, that's it. I just never really fully understood Misfits because they're a team of shoulds.
Yeah.
They should be certain thing, but in reality, we didn't see that. Is it now, in the Summer Split, is this a time when Misfits actually shows why we were calling them a super team coming into 2019?
Tomorrow we're going to have to find out against Origin. For today, though, after a fantastic victory against exceL, the options for Kia Player of the Game are Kirei, Febiven, and Hansama. This had better be a landslide.
Kia Player of the Game or Kirei Player of the Game?
Oh, the Kirei Kia Player of the... Nice one. I applaud that. But seriously, I mean, phenomenal performance. Go to @LLEsports on Twitter. Go vote. Let's see how much of a percentage he wins by. For more on Kirei's first game in the LEC, let's hear from the man himself with Laure.
Thank you, Quickshot, and thank you, Kirei, for joining me. Welcome to the LEC. I mean, exceL gave you a warm welcome enough by invading you at Red Buff level 1, but it looks like you guys were expecting it. You had a wordplay, so tell me about the level 1.
I mean, we saw them coming in with a sweeper, so we expected them to invade our Red Buff. So I just said, wait in this bush, and then they maybe thought we weren't there, and then we surprised them, and they panicked, and I guess we got the Red Buff, and yeah, early game is won. I
was even more surprised to see exceL letting Kindred open, considering how much you love the champ. But I was also surprised to see you pick Kindred, because if I remember correctly, there were changings in the latest patch with the scuttles and so on. So can you explain why Kindred is still playable in this meta?
I mean, the scuttle changes didn't really matter for Kindred, since this champ scales pretty well. So even if they changed Scuttle, it didn't matter. It's just the champs around the Kindred that's more important than Kindred itself.
So we can expect to see more Kindred coming from you then?
Maybe, who knows?
Awesome.
I don't know.
Awesome. Now, more about you. From La Ligue Française to being in the LEC, can you tell me how different it is to play with Misfits Premier and this team?
I think Misfits Premier, we like to fight a lot, and I think it's good if we can make it work. I think it'll go really good after a while. And with the main team, it's a bit more calculated, I guess, a bit more passive, and a bit more controlled, I guess. So that's the main difference.
Now, you just did your first game in the LEC. What are your first thoughts on the first game?
I mean, it was quite a boring game, I guess. It wasn't like close, but it was still fun, you know. It was still fun.
Okay, we'll see if you can have some more challenge tomorrow. Thanks again for the interview.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, Rogue will take on Vitality. Stay tuned, guys.
Flash forward, red buff applied. Dance of Arrows is available for Kira in just a moment. Caedral goes down. There's a control ward placed. Oh, that's the engage onto one. The kick.
Oh!
That's the shutdown goal onto Kirei. Caedral does it. That's the engage onto Febi. He's forced to flash defensively. Goes backwards. Sends out the Sand Soldiers. That makes it a 3v4. Hunt Summer with the power chord. But now it's sOAZ Hjarnan's ulti. That's the hammer form. Put it down on Hjarnan. He's dashed backwards. Realm Warp defensively. A double shock. And one more power chord. Some looking for the kill. Some looking for the Nexus. Mickey goes down 0-5-2 for his LEC debut. And Misfits take down exceL. Welcome to ProView. Exclusive POV streams for every player in every game let you get closer to the action and get inside their minds. With Multiview, you can create your very own stream, unique to you, with up to 4 feeds. And with our advanced timeline, you can hone in on all the big plays that matter most to you. Watch LEC in a whole new way for €14.99, or get the All Access Pass for $19.99.